Kenya's parliament, which today brings together the National Assembly and the Senate, is now 50 years old since the first sitting at independence in 1963. Freedom from the yoke of colonialism marked a radical shift in the governance structure of the nation.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the happiest days of my life.
To them, the Union Jack would no longer decide the fate and destiny of their country.
Our independence as a nation was not given on a silver platter by the British colonial government. It took the gallant efforts of our freedom fighters and the political leaders at the time to force the colonial masters into submission.
Some of you heard Kenyatta, you say, oh, that's a horrible man, I wouldn't like to see him.
And I am satisfied with him as the leader of this country.
Wakati wa mkoloni, sisi hatungeweza kusoma vyema. Ilikuwa kazi ya mkoloni ya kwamba sisi wa Afrika tusome mpaka kuweza tu kuhesabu magunia ya kahawa ambayo yamevunwa katika shamba la mzungu. Tuweze tu kujua kuhesabu ndoo ya maziwa ambayo imekamuliwa katika shamba la mzungu. Ukiweza kuhesabu ndoo mpaka 500, basi masomo yako haitaki kupita hapo.
Looking back, however, the history of the Parliament of Kenya dates back to 1907, with the first sitting of the whites-only Legislative Council, LegCo, then overseen by the governor, a scenario that continued until 1944, when Eliud Mathu became the first African member of the LegCo. Although the Lennox Boyd Constitution of 1958 and that of Littleton before it increased African representation in the LegCo, it was the Lancaster House Conferences of 1960 and 1962 which mapped out the future constitutional developments in Kenya. In particular, the Second Lancaster Conference established a pattern of parliament for self-government and independence. The Legislative Council was replaced by 2 houses, the Senate and the House of Representatives. Each house was to elect its own speaker, and the Attorney General was to sit as an ex-official member.
Under the Constitution, quite apart from presiding over the debates in the Assembly and ensuring fairness in the distribution of contributions, the Speaker must be at all times alive to the fact that there are 349 members, and each of those 349 members has an equal right to make contributions to any debate that is on the floor.
Parliament buildings as we know it today was constructed in 1952 and completed within 2 years. After over 30 years in the Memorial Hall where it conducted her sittings, the Legislative Council moved into the new house after its official opening in 1954.
Now, in 1963, I was elected a member of parliament from Baringo East constituency. We were with Mboya, we were with Moi, we were with Nga, all of them, name it. The whole, you see, Kichuru, Bainangu, Dr. Kiano, Dr. Mungai, Kiboi, the first MP Nyeri in 1963, somebody who came from India, and he was elected in Nyeri.
After independence in 1963, the composition of Parliament remained the same for the first year. However, the merger negotiations of 1964 between the government and the opposition parties in the House led to the dissolution of the latter. Mzee Jomo Kenyatta's KANU became the only party in the House. By 1966, it had become apparent that a bicameral parliament was incompatible with the needs of a newly independent nation. Consequently, both houses resolved to amend the Constitution of Kenya to merge the Senate and the House of Representatives. In January 1967, the National Assembly sat for the first time as a unicameral house.
Actually, for Kenya, you know, usually the phrase is that history repeats itself at 40. In Kenya, it repeats itself at 50. in terms of bicameral systems of parliament. As you correctly observed, that independence with both houses, the House of Representatives and the Senate. We lost the Senate in 1966. But you know, there were the circumstances, I think, that time that informed that particular decision was that as a young republic, a young country, a developing country, maybe they felt they did not have the luxury, but wrongly so. Of course, that's the wisdom we have gained later of having two houses. There was a sense of nationalism and, you know, the desire to have one united country, and I think that's what informed the founding fathers of the nation.
In accordance with the 1963 Constitution of Kenya, future elections were held every 5 years. The late President Mzee Jomo Kenyatta presided over 3 such elections before he passed on 22nd of August 1978. He was succeeded by former President Daniel Arap Moi.
Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, naapa kwamba nitakuwa mwaminifu kwa Jamhuri ya Kenya.
During President Moi's era, the Fourth Parliament effected a constitutional amendment in 1982, which transformed Kenya from a de facto to a de jure one-party state. The Fifth and Sixth Parliaments were formed under this constitution. Significantly, it was the Seventh Parliament which ushered in multipartism after the 1992 elections and the clamour for a new constitution. The Eighth Parliament saw an increased membership of 210 from the previous 202.
So 50 years we have seen 11 parliaments. 2 of them bicameral, that is the first parliament and the 11th parliament, and the others unicameral. Our history, parliamentary history since 1963 to today has enough lessons, particularly for those born in the 80s and 90s. There has been significant development. And therefore it is always critical to understand why certain developments took place, even as we move to the future.
The elections of 2002, which brought forth the 9th Parliament, marked a major turning point for the country, when KANU, the ruling party since independence, lost the elections to NARC, a coalition of parties that catapulted President Mwai Kibaki to power. This gave way to the 10th Parliament in 2008.
Kwa mujibu wa sheria, mila na desturi za Jamhuri ya Kenya, bila kuoga, upendeleo, uba wala chuki. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu unisaidie.
Since the 2007 elections were laden with challenges, the promulgation of the new constitution on 27th of August 2010 was a major milestone for Kenya. In conformity with the new constitutional dispensation, Kenya has reverted to a bicameral system of parliament. The National Assembly seats at parliament buildings, while the Senate is housed at the Kenyatta International Conference Center, KICC.
The role of the Speaker, according to the Constitution, is to preside in the House. Of course, that means that he is the head of the institution, the political head of the institution, knowing that Parliament is one branch of government, and makes sure during the proceedings that there is orderly conduct of the business of the House. The Speaker approves all the motions, all the issues that will come before you see them on the floor of the House.
In the current setting, the Senate has 67 members, 47 of them elected senators from the counties.
Today I know we have a lot. When you look at the bicameral parliament that we have, you find that women in the Senate will have to do more. Because when you look at the structures when we had in the new constitution, we don't have any woman governor, we don't have any elected woman senator. And therefore it's a challenge that we need to ask ourselves, shall we be able in 2017?
Parliament has undergone a tremendous transformation since independence. Today, the National Assembly is larger than ever before, with a total membership of 349, 290 of them being elected members from the constituencies. It is worth noting that President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto are not members of the august house, as has been the case before. The establishment of the Parliamentary Service Commission in 1999, which now oversees the efficient and effective functioning of Parliament, is one of the key changes in the history of the House.
The administration of the two houses, there is a single administration. The Parliamentary Service Commission is the commission that is responsible for the administration of both the Assembly and the Senate. So whereas we have two chambers, each running as a chamber, the administration, the services and facilities for economy, for harmony, are brought together under the Parliamentary Service Commission.
Other changes include an enhanced committee system and live broadcasts of parliamentary proceedings. The committee system is especially critical in today's case, where government ministers, now cabinet secretaries, no longer sit in the House to answer questions related to their ministries. The committees therefore see to the effective surveillance over the executive arm of the government.
In total, we have 28 committees, and they are classified into 3. We have departmental committees. Departmental committees are committees that look at ministries, that understand the ministries or subjects that are related to those ministries. As of now, we have 12 departmental committees. And then we have watchdog committees. These are the committees that look at public finance, the committees that look at public accounts, committees that look at public investments. And then we have housekeeping committees, that is committees that manage the services of the National Assembly.
In addition, new standing orders were adopted and are a complete departure from the past.
This system is different from what we have been used to in the last close to 50 years. We have been used to a system where ministers were in the assembly and were asking questions, and they were being asked questions and answering it on the spot or promising to come up with answers, because they would go back to their respective dockets and find out from the technocrats. The chairmen of committees have no business going to government ministries to verify the correctness or otherwise of information. They can only summon the cabinet secretaries and their technical staff to come and ask them questions relating to their dockets.
The new constitution gives Parliament the leeway to effect legislative changes that will lead to a better and prosperous Kenya. Such changes include increased democratic space, gender equity, and good governance. By working closely with other arms of government, namely the judiciary and the executive, the gains made will be for the overall good of the Kenyan people.